It's not uncommon when dealing with large lists of data in Excel to have formulas that need to be copied through an entire column. In column H here, we need an adjusted salary. It's simply going to be the total of current salary and the bonus. So a formula, one of many different variations, might simply be equal G2 plus F2. I'm going to press Control Enter so the active cell doesn't move. I'm ready to copy this down the column. And although we certainly can use copy and paste techniques, by far the best way to do this that most people would agree on would be to drag the lower right-hand corner. However, that's not going to be the fastest way, particularly if this list is huge. Think of how long this might take if this is thousands and thousands of rows. If you excuse the bad pun for a moment, this could be a real drag. It might take a long, long time. A much better way, and practically flawless, is simply to double-click the lower right-hand corner. That corner, by the way, has a name. It's called the fill handle, F-I-L-L handle. I'm going to double-click. First question in your mind might be, well, how far did this get copied? And did it really get copied? Well, we can look at the numbers in the second example here. Yes, 73,430 plus 2,000, we've got a new total. This is working properly. The formulas have been copied. How far did this get copied? A not so well-known shortcut is Control period. I'm going to press it now once. You see what happens? The active cell is in cell H709. Why only that far? Scroll down a little bit. That's the bottom of the list here. Every time you press Control period, if you've got a highlighted range that is, the active cell moves around the corners of the range. In this case, it's in a single column, so it simply, in this case, tells us quickly and easily the extremities of this range. Now, what happens if we have other kinds of data here? For example, what if you forget? What if there's nothing in this cell? I'm going to press delete. In prior versions of Excel, and I'm also going to double-click this section here and press delete to get rid of it. In prior versions of Excel, if you double-click the lower right-hand corner, if there's an empty cell to the left, as we see here, formula would only go this far. But here, that's not going to be the case in Excel 2010. It goes down to the bottom of the list. The change, and you'll want to note it from time to time as you're using perhaps different versions of Excel, as long as there is other data off to the left, we can see that this is a larger list. We have data in other columns. Now, here and there, you might need to experiment with that a little bit, but we don't have to worry about the empty cells to the left. Let me press Control Z to do another undo here and point out another aspect to this. On purpose here, I'm going to put in an empty column to the left. And now I'm going to double-click. Nothing happens. Same thing would have been true in prior versions. If there's data to the right, however, I'll just make up a heading here called tax code over a few cells. I'm going to type in 5% and press Control Enter. What happens now if I double-click? If the column to the immediate left is empty, then the double-clicking technique follows the column to the right. Another aspect of this, too, is I press Control Z to undo. What if we hide column H? Right-click, hide. I'm going to double-click here. You see what's happening. In prior versions, it would have worked in the reverse way. So it's interesting the way they've redefined the use of this, but the general idea and the way this is going to work most of the time and for you is when you've got data lined up, in this case, we want to take out that empty column. Typical situation, you need to copy information. Now, this does not need to be a formula, although we're talking about formulas and functions in this particular movie, but whether this is text or a value, or in this case, a formula, double-clicking the lower right-hand corner takes us to the bottom of the column. And again, Control period to quickly determine the limits of how far it was copied. Unfortunately, there's no corresponding shortcut for copying formulas across a row, but rarely would you need to do that across the thousands and thousands of rows that you might need to use when data is set up like this in a column. So this is a great shortcut, and you can use it even when you've got a small amount of data, even if it's only 5 or 6 rows downward. Make this fast and easy. Enter the formula or text as needed, double-click the lower right-hand corner, and have it quickly fill in the remainder of the column through the active part of your data. It's a great shortcut.